Okay, the Gemara, you are in Eyn Yaakov, and it's on in Brachot 55b 1, and so we have a principle from Yosef. It says, Amar Rav Levi. Rav Levi said, "V'olam yitzapeh Adam lechalom tov ad esrim u'shtayim shana." A person could hope for the realization of a positive dream for as long as 22 years. In other words, you have a positive dream, you hit the mega box. Well, don't be distressed when you don't hit it that day or that week. You should look for 22 years. So the Gemara says, Minalan, how do you get to 22 years? So the answer is Yosef. Yosef, the president of Yosef, for his dreams were not fulfilled until 22 years had passed from the time he first beheld them. Now think about what happened. Yosef had a dream at 17 that that his brothers were going to bow down to him, and his father and mother would bow down to him. Sun, the moon, the stars, all those imageries would bow down to him. What happens? He gets sold into slavery. Then he's subjected to Potiphar and Potiphar's wife. Then he's thrown into jail for another 12 years. 12 years. Then he finally makes it big, and he becomes a viceroy. And it takes 22 years for him to finally, when the famine to finally kick in, for his brothers to come down along with their father to bow down to him and thus fulfill his dream. So, think about all the way through when he's being sold at 17 to Potiphar, not to Potiphar himself, but to the Midianites and the Ishmaelim who built him up. You figure your dream's never going to come true. Okay, so here we're told 22 years. Dichtiv, as is written, Eile toldot Yaakov. These are the chronicles of Yaakov. Yosef ben Shvayis Reshana. Yosef was 17 years old. Uchtiv, and then it's written Yosef ben Shloshim Shana b'amdo lefnei Paro, that he was 30 when he stood before Pharaoh. And we know that Yosef was 30 because when he was brought before Pharaoh to interpret the monarch's dreams. So min shab surei so now, how many years are there from age 17 to 30? Talat Surei, you have 13 years. Okay, so the Gemara is doing your mathematics. V'shav desav up, and now we must add the amount to 7 years of plenty because they wouldn't have come during that time. And v'tarte dechafna, as well as 2 years of the famine. For it was not until these additional 9 years elapsed that Yosef's father came to Mitzrayim and prostrated himself before Yosef. So high Esrim Shtayim, we have thus a total of 22 years that passed before Yosef's dream was fulfilled. So we're seeing that if you have a good dream, Daniel Yankov, and you see yourself winning the Boston Marathon, which I assume would be one of your dreams. No, Boston Marathon is much harder. You should go for the Boston because it's much harder. You don't listen to me. Okay. I know better than you. Okay. So whatever. New York, Boston, they're all the same. Boston pays more, New York pays more.
No, I think Boston pays more.
So you're not all together. Okay. I'll just declare that. If Boston pays more and it's a harder race, you should do Boston. That should be your goal. But anyway, if you had a dream that you won either race, well, you don't have to worry. You have up to 22 years to train. Okay? Start training now. Okay, and now the other thing that I have to say though is why did Yaakov? I think we touched this last week. Why did Yaakov have to wait 22 years to see his son? Remember, he was separated from Yosef, his beloved son, for 22 years. Why was he punished? Okay, so you have to. So as far as waiting for a dream, we're learning you have to wait after 22 years for a good dream. But why was Yaakov punished? Remember?
Because he was away from his parents, and his excuse was he was afraid of Esau. But when he met Esau and he was making his way back, he didn't.
Good, very good. So retroactively, all the years that he spent and yet Lavan's house was not a good proof, and therefore he did not fulfill the mitzvah of kibbud av v'eim in all the 20 years, so he was punished that way too. So you have two things going on at once. Good. So Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna said, the Adam Tov, Marin lo Chalom Tov, a positive dream is not shown to a good person. Ul Adam Ra, and to a bad person, Ein Marin lo Chalom Ra. He is not shown, a negative dream is not shown to a evil person. So Rashi, so he explains the so the rationale. Article explains the rationale for a good person. Experiencing, he's going backwards. Experiencing sinister dreams is that the apprehension he is caused from these visions will cause him to weigh his actions carefully, which will help him avoid sin. Additionally, any worry he experiences will itself serve as an atonement for the few sins he does commit. On the other hand, an evil person is specifically shown positive dreams. These gladden his heart, giving him reward for his few meritorious deeds in this world rather than the true world, the world to come. Okay, so that's why the tzaddik, the good guy, doesn't get to see a good dream, because Hashem wants him to constantly do teshuvah according to that. It's an interesting concept. So let me see what Rashi says here. Rashi is saying, here it is. It says, "Adam tov lo mare lo chalom ra." To a good person, he won't. Oh, they do show him good. They won't. They show him bad dreams. So Rashi's text is different. Okay, so they show him why? In order that he will worry and he won't sin, and he'll do tshuva on his, and he'll be how do you say, he will, the atonement will be for his sadness, like what we just read. The Adam Ra, to a bad person, so you show him the good dream. Okay, so it's what we just said. And it says, we're going to get to this. For David Lo. Okay, fine. That's what we're going to get to. Tani Nami Achi. So we also learned the bright lights. Koshan Tav Shel, David, all the years of David, in all of his life, Lo Ra'ah, Chalom Tov, he never saw a good dream. Koshan Tav Shel, Achitofel. In all the years of Achitofel, who was an advisor of David, Lo Ra'ah, Chalom Ra. He never saw a bad dream. So Rashi explains, David lo ra chalom tov. He never saw a good dream. V'chtiv, but surely it's written, lo tu'una elecha ra'ah. That okay. The Gemara is going to ask a question on this. That says no evil will befall you. So wait a second. So how is that possible? Lo garsina hachi el garsina hichtiv lo tu'una elecha. Okay. Kasha Rav Huna, it's difficult for Rav Huna. Da amar la adam tov mar lo chalom ra. To the good man is always. You saw him always a bad dream. So he's not really answering the question. Okay, so let's continue. And certainly it's written that you can look over there. Nobody's looking at the Gemara, so sorry. So v'chtiv lo tu'une lechara, no evil befall you. Ba'amar Rav Chisda, Amar Rav Yirmiyah bar Ava. He said, explain this verse. Shalom. Yavilucha lo chalamot ra'im, flohir horim ra'im. This is the bracha, that neither negative dreams nor evil thoughts will confound you. And then it goes to say, the verse continues, V'nega lo yikra v'halecha, nor will any plague come near your tent. Shlo timsa ishtecha safech dina. And this is a bracha, that you will not find your wife in a doubtful state of nida. When you come home from a journey on the road. In any event, it's clear from his teaching of Rav Chisda that if a righteous person is spared the experience of negative dreams, this is deemed a blessing for him. If so, Rav Huna's statement that righteous people are rewarded with a negative dream seems difficult. Okay, so that's what Rashi is giving a whole gersa there. That's all Rashi was doing. So let's just figure out what's going on here. It says, Achitophel was a highly regarded sage and advisor to King David, who deserted the king in favor of David's renegade son, Avshalom. Achitophel is deemed by the Gemara as an example of a thoroughly wicked person, in contrast to David, who was considered outstandingly righteous. Now, Achitophel, David calls Achitophel Rebbe Umuri, my Rebbe, my teacher. So, because he taught him one halacha. It's a famous thing in Pirkei Avot. Achitophel was a big Talmid Chacham. He was also on the Beit, and they said the Sanhedrin. He was not a small person here, and it just shows you that if such a person can be at such a level, have so much knowledge, and then turn out to be a Rasha, we should always be careful and never to think that. So, what's that? Oh. Never to think that we are safe from the other side. Okay, so that's one thing. And then it says, when it says your tent, it means your wife. Because we said, nor will any plague come near your tent. And he said, so you wouldn't find your wife in the Nida. So your tent is understood as a metaphor for one's wife, the mainstay of your household, which is why they have a book, Ish Ubeito, a man is by Eliyahu Kitov, is a man and literally a man and his house, and it's supposed to be a book on his house is referring to the wife, and that. So it's a famous thing. Also, when you come to Yosef says to Potiphar's wife, when Potiphar's wife, she wants him to lie with him and so on and so forth, he says, your husband trusts me with everything in your house except for the bread that he eats. So it's using all euphemisms to say, I can't touch you. Okay, so now he says the Torah prohibits marital relations with a nida, a menstruant woman. When a man returns home from a journey and naturally looks forward to be maritally reunited with his wife, he is more distressed to find his wife in a doubtful state of nida than a definite state. If she were a definite nida, he would resign himself to that fact. But in the case of a doubtful nida, he must abstain from relations because of the possibility that she is in fact a nida. At the same time, though, he is tempted by thoughts that she is not a nida, and he is abstaining unnecessarily. Okay, so you want to, the hope is to avoid all those issues. So it says, so in recognition of the problem, the Gemara amends Rav Huna's statement. Or rather, Rav Huna means Ihu lo chazile, the righteous person himself does not see the negative dream. Acharini chazulai. Instead, others see a negative dream concerning him. Excuse me. So that's what you're trying to avoid. Just want to see one thing. No, okay. Doesn't say it here. Okay, so then the Gemara goes further. But if the righteous person doesn't see himself the negative dreams, is it really an advantage to him? For since he doesn't see the negative dreams, then he does not see positive dreams either. Then it would appear that he experiences no dreams. And then we have another problem. Why? Because Amar Rav Zera, surely Rav Zera said, Kol halan shiva yamin below chalom. Whoever sleeps for 7 days without having a dream, nikra ra, is called wicked. Shenamar, as it says, v'saveh yalim bal yipaked ra, he will not rest sated, satisfied, he will rest sated and not be visited with evil. Al tikra saveya, do not read sated. That accepted a vocalization of the way you should read the word Ella Sheva, but rather you read it as the word would pronounce Sheva, 7. Now, if a failure to see any dreams is a sign of a wicked person, surely a righteous person would experience some dreams. So if you don't want to see a bad dream, because if you're saying he wouldn't see a bad dream, others will see it about him, and they'll probably tell him or whatever, so he'll do tshuva for it. but he's not seeing it, so he's called a wicked person anyway. So the Gemara says, Elachi Kama, really, this is what Rav Huna means to say. The Chaza, a righteous person, does see dreams. Indeed, he sees positive dreams. But when he awakens, he does not have knowledge of what he saw while he had been asleep. You got that? So he's dreaming. He's going to dream, but he won't remember them. So what's the use of dreaming, right? So he says, if the righteous person is made to shun sin through ominous dreams, albeit those dreams by others, it stands to reason that he surely is not shown positive dreams that might cause him to be that might cause him to become complacent. Indeed, this is evidence earlier, which Brisa, which King David is having never experienced a positive dream. Now, whenever the Gemara also says, don't read it this way, read it this way. Remember, it's because the word itself doesn't have vowels in the text. It's written consonantally. So what it does is it allows for one to read it in a multiplicity of ways. Now, there is one way that makes sense, okay, that fits the context. And that's the proper way. We have a Masorah that tells us that's how you pronounce it. But because it's written like that, so we take license, if you will. They say since the writer wrote it that way, he was allowing us to also have this hidden meaning behind the text. Understand? It's not like they're just making up words. They're saying you can don't read it this way, rather read it this way to get the drasha. They had a drasha. They had to have a foundation for it. So that's why they say don't read it this way, read it that way. This alternative vocalization is allowed because the spelling shin beit ayin without vowelization. The verse is thus read as saying, if he rests for 7 days and is not visited with a dream, he can be considered evil. The rationale for this is since the person is wicked, heaven simply ignores him, not bothering to send him dreams at all, good or bad. Remember, if dreams are something that are going to give us a message, so that it would make, and it's from Hashem, so it makes sense that Hashem is going to give it. So even if the person is wicked and he's going to see a good dream, why is Hashem doing that? Because he wants to give him reward. But why? Why would he give the bad guy a good dream?
So he doesn't get any reward from the world to come.
Good. Beautiful.
But how do you get reward from a dream?
Because you enjoyed it. What is reward? You enjoy something, right?
Don't you forget dreams afterwards?
What?
So
fine. You forget later, but when you have a nice piece of lettuce, okay, you get hana from that. He's a vegetarian, a vegan. Excuse me. When you get a nice piece of vegan delicacies, you're in seventh heaven, as compared to, so that's your reward. No other reward for being a vegan. Okay. On the other hand, the meat goes on forever. No, but it's But think about that. When you're running, and you are in the zone, to use that sort of language, when you're in the zone, you have an enjoyment, a runner's enjoyment that only a runner can understand. Yes, nobody can understand that. Mishigas that you guys have, and I certainly can't. I'm lucky if I can run 5 feet, and I can't forget it. But you guys seem to have this enjoyment. This, I hit the zone. Okay, fine. So you get enjoyment from that. Well, that is the reward you get for running, because God knows you not win the races. Oh, there's only, as the statement goes, only one winner in the world. There's only one winner. The rest are all runner-ups. There's only one person who can pull that off. Even for the Olympics, in the Olympics is very simple and very interesting. You have the gold, silver, and bronze. Okay, what happens? The gold is way up; he's on the big pedestal.
yeah.
The silver, I think silver second, right?
Yeah.
Silver is a little lower, and bronze is the lowest. But they like this. But I'm looking. When I would watch that now as an older person, I'm thinking, why would I want to be bronze? That's like, you were pretty good. And we had to give you something for it. Yeah. But no, the only guy who should be getting it is the gold.
The winner.
The good winner. There's only one world champion. There's not two. Yeah. There's only one valedictorian. And this, like I was told in Adams they had 11 valedictorians. Oh. 11 people got 4.0. What can you do? God bless them. Wow. God bless us, guys. If either the school's too easy, or these guys are just mamish geniuses. 4 not one A minus in the class. 11. How many people are in Adams? Maybe 3,000, something like that. Is it that much?
I don't think so.
No, they're not? Okay.
Maybe
1,800. But if you imagine, 11 people, I think it was Adams, I'm pretty sure it was Adams, 11 valedictorians. They all give a little bit of a speech. But I just was told that Rabbi Friedland's kid was
the valedictorian normally awarded to the highest grade point average.
Yeah, it's always the highest grade. So, but the 11 people had 4.0
maximum. In other words,
that's it. You can't do anything. Yeah.
I'm going to be my own valedictorian.
There you go.
It's not that different.
It's a class of one. Class of one. You're the highest and the lowest. There's no question. Okay. That's the beauty of homeschool. Okay, but it's. But I mean, think about that. So, but really, in the world, you only have one winner. There's only one champion. There's not two champions. You can't have two champions. So,
like the chess championship, right?
Right.
Runner up, so what?
That's it. You're runner up. Good luck. So now, again, for those guys though, the dream, the excitement of the game, that was their victory. You know, as I saw on YouTube, so they had whatever it was, YouTube or Facebook, whatever I saw, they had a race, the Alta Calca race, where the people are old, they're in their 90s or something, and they were running, and so there was one woman there who was 100 years old, and she was running on the track, and that itself again is a victory. Now she came in last, but really she's first. If you can be 100 and run around the track one time, again, I run 5 feet, so but she ran around the whole track. Okay, it took her about 20 minutes. I don't know what it took, but she still did it, and everybody's clapping. Yeah. Now she also knows that it's only because she's 100 years old. Otherwise, they would have been yelling, "What are we waiting for this old lady for?" But it's. But I'm just saying, it's the excitement. That's dreams. So I have a good dream. If it's for the moment, it's for that one moment, I'm happy. Hashem says that's what I wanted. That's the reward. Because I'm not going to give you anything in the world to come. Because you're a wicked guy.
For the people who like silver and bronze, they're not the best, but they're like the second best, the third best.
Again. It doesn't mean anything to me. You're not the top.
First.
You're not the top. Leave me alone.
They went into it expecting to win it.
Right.
They came in second.
Right. It's not. I guarantee you, the guy standing next to Muhammad Ali, who was the Olympics. He got the gold. Yeah. The guy standing next to Muhammad on one side, and it was Cassius Clay at that point. Yeah. On one side, and then the other side, they were looking at this guy and saying, "It could have been me." Yeah. But he knocked me out. What can I do?
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be. And they're standing there lower than he is. I mean, it was an interesting picture. Now that he's dead, we see all the pictures of what's going on. It's such a fascinating thing to see that. But anyway, that's why you understand why? It's a reward. That's why it's a reward. It's all. And again, for the righteous person, if he sees a negative dream or somebody tells him about a negative dream, he has the opportunity to tshuva. But the interesting thing is if the guy doesn't have any dream, no dream, so Hashem is saying, you're not worth it.
Well, if you can't recall a dream.
No, it's not something else. But if you knew you had, that was Nebuchadnezzar actually. He had a dream. He had a dream, and he didn't know what he dreamed. So that's why he has to call Daniel and everybody else. Tell me what I dreamed.
I didn't know he dreamed in the first place.
Because he was bothered. He knew he had a dream, but he forgot what he dreamed. But he knew it was a bad dream. So he has to figure out what it is. Yes, it's crazy. Yes, I agree with you. I'm not arguing that. Yeah.
No dreams be like sometimes when you go to sleep and then you open your eyes in the morning. don't realize time has passed, and you don't feel rested. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go sleep. I rest my eyes.
Rested is a different thing.
Right. No dreams would mean that you didn't dream. I mean, there's times that we go to sleep, and it seems that we don't dream. Everybody, according to science, everybody dreams.
Yeah.
Everybody has multiple dreams actually every night, but we don't remember them. So the question is, what happens if you have no recollection of anything? That may be your case, by the way, where you went to sleep, you woke up, and there was nothing in the middle, and you may be rested, you may not be rested. I'm not sure, but it's you don't remember anything. You don't remember any negative feelings. Sometimes when we're waking up, we come out of a dream. Quite often, we'll be coming out of a dream, and then we'll wake up and whatever. We'll know that we dreamt, and it's healthy to dream. What happens when you dream? All those pressures that you had in your life are being lived out in those dreams, which is why we have. Again, I'm dealing scientifically, or what they claim to be psychologically. Many times we just play that thing out. That's why if you have a test coming up, or if you have anxiety in your life, so what do you always dream about? That test or that paper that I turn the paper in, or the paycheck. I know people have had that dream where I think the boss still owes me money. Why is he paying me? Right? Sometimes you get that, or wait, I worked, I didn't get paid. I have to go to him to get money, but that's all. And by the way, you may be rich and have that dream, because all it is showing anxiety. All those are just anxiety dreams. The question now is, what's my anxiety about? And again, if we were all having those dreams, that would be a bad dream. That would be a thing for us to tshuva about. Okay, and what's tshuva? Did I pay everybody on time? Do I owe money to anybody? That's how you should take that dream, by the way. Instead of saying that the boss really owes me money, he's a ganef, you don't think that, because you have all your money. You're up to date. So now what happens is you have to think, so did I withhold, did I make a pledge that I didn't pay off? Did I hold somebody's money back? You start checking yourself out. And then you see what you did. And it was nothing. So then you say, so what am I nervous about? What's really going on here? And again, you go through that sort of tshuva. Tshuva is on many different levels. It could be between God and us, or it could be between me and you. So if I said something wrong to you, Daniel, if I would call you Daniel Jacob instead of Yankov, like I like to do, so then I have to think, was he hurt by that? Is that why I'm stressing out? And I should come to you and say, Daniel, I was only kidding when I called you Jacob. Because I know you don't like Jacob. Assuming you didn't like, you need a haircut, man. No, see, like that. He's looking. I'm only kidding with you. I don't care. I need a haircut, not you. But I'm just saying those sort of things are what you should try to do. Whenever you have a bad dream, if you have a good dream, you don't do tshuva for it. You enjoy it. But remember one thing: while you're enjoying it, that could be the reward for something else. So you may want to do tshuva again.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, oh boy, God gave me a good dream, which means I get reward, which means I'm not get it in the world to come, which means I'm a bad guy. Start your tshuva. Okay, can you imagine that? No matter what I do, I have to tshuva. Yeah.
So why would you make tshuva for a bad dream if a bad dream is just a sign of you doing something right? If you do
No.
A bad dream is given to you because God wants you to judge yourself.
Right. Right. Because the tzaddik always has to work. The tzaddik always has to work on himself. There's never a day off. The Rasha, on the other hand, never thinks he has to work on himself.
Right.
He is always on siesta. You understand? So God's saying, well, you're not going to change. So you did something good. There's no person in the entire history of the human race who was totally bad. Nobody. Everybody does something good. And when somebody, in other words, follows, when I say good, I mean follow mitzvot. Everybody does something in the proper way. I'll give an example. You're walking down the street and you see a beautiful flower, and it's your anniversary. You forgot to get flowers, and you see the beautiful flower, and you don't pick it to give to your wife, because that would be stealing. You received a mitzvah. You fulfilled a mitzvah. You get reward for that. Yeah.
Does that just mean walking down the street and you're just walking down the alley, or walking down, it's just wild?
No, I'm talking about you sit on somebody's property. Sit on somebody's property. Right. If you saw it in the open, then you could take it like Yehuda did, like Reuven did for his mother. He brought the dudaim. They were hefker. Once something is ownerless, you can take it. But if it's on somebody's land, you cannot take it.
So if you see like a pile of gold in the middle of the street, you can take
Pile of gold? No, a pile of gold not. If you see, and the reason if you see a pile, it means somebody piled it.
Yeah.
But if you would see gold on the street, if somebody, one piece of gold. So yes, you could take it because somebody obviously lost that. And you have no way, there's no way to identify it. You understand? Like if you found $1 on the street, there's no way to identify the dollar.
In a busy place where there's all kinds of people passing, in other words.
Even if it's Jewish.
I mean, if you find $1 on the front steps out here, then you assume somebody that comes in here.
Yeah, but there's no way that he could.
You couldn't positively identify.
Right, so you can't positively identify it, so therefore it's hefker.
I thought if it could be identified,
if you
the person
can.
who lost it could identify and say, "Hey, I lost something here," and you can post a note. I found a currency, and tell me what I did. This one time in Chicago, and it was a $5 bill laying right outside the shul. So I posted a note. I said, I found a paper currency. Here's my name and my phone number. Call me and identify what denomination it was, and it's yours. Nobody called me, so I put it in the tzedakah box.
Okay.
Well,
Because really, again, if I want to, if I want to fulfill the mitzvah of hashavas aveda, returning a lost object, it's a very hard mitzvah
it
to
has
do.
to be in a neighborhood, in a spot where it could be identifiable.
Right. So in other words, it has to be like, if I, what's be an example? I lost this. I lost my cell phone. So my name is not on this at all. So the guy would say, okay, identify the cell phone, and identify the cell phone is yours. So I say, go to the contacts, and you have all these contacts. Boom. Okay, it's yours. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be one way to do it. I'm guessing that
Yeah.
this is not. I'm guessing you can't do it any other way. But if it's let's say a $10 bill, how am I going to identify it? I know the serial number.
No,
most people don't know
it's
serial
just
numbers. So if I fold it, but if I have $10 bills in a paper clip.
Yeah.
So then you can say, I found money, identify it. So I tell you, I found 10, or whatever denomination, but $10 bills in a paper clip folded over. Oh, that's yours.
Yeah.
And those of you can identify it clearly. That's why I say if it's a pile,
Yeah.
somebody piled it, so you have no right to take it. But if you found one on the street, it's nothing. I once found a jackknife. I was in a pocket knife. You used to call it jackknife.
Yeah.
You don't call it jackknife anymore?
Yeah.
So I think it's still called jackknife. But I found a pocket, whatever, in Muncie. I was riding my bike, and I was riding around, and I found it in the Hasidic area. It happened to be down there. And I picked up the knife. I went to the Rebbe, and I said to him, Rabbi, I found this knife. Do I have to put up a sign in the area I found it? He said, no.
No.
I said, no. I said, why? He said, because Jews don't carry knives. There's no way to identify it. Leave it alone. I said, okay. By the way, I want to know he was wrong.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people carry that because when they wanted to screw something into the wall.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that in his mind it wasn't that. But he also said there's no way to identify it. How are they going to identify it? There's no identifying mark on it.
Well,
So-
unless you just would post a note and say, I found an object outside of such. Yeah, it's like with the $5 bill. If somebody noticed, knew exactly how much money they had in their pocket.
So again,
I'm missing the
it's
$5
a hard mitzvah to fulfill,
Yeah.
and you have to know all the ramifications that go with it. When it comes to certain things, you may have to leave it till Eliyahu Hanavi comes. That's not a
It's
problem.
identifiable, you mean, and you can't find a guy.
Even if it's not identifiable, sometimes they'll tell you to leave it till, according to one opinion, you leave it till you can't even get tzedakah.
Well, I heard that if it was identifiable, if you knew who it belonged to, but you just couldn't find that person, the person never showed
Well,
up.
then you have to
the guy-
leave. Then you have to
you
keep it.
hold on to it.
Right, then you have to keep it.
Yeah.
Once you know who it is, you have to keep it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you understand how that's working now? With the bad dreams, good dreams, good. Now let's go on.
Yeah.
So it says, where is it? Okay, so wait, I missed something. I went back. Where did okay, 11. This is Amar Rav Huna Barami. Amar Rav Yochanan. Haroeh Chalom v'nafsho aguma. One sees a dream and his soul is distressed about it. What should he do? Yelech v'yifterenu b'fnei shlosha. So he should go and have it interpreted in the presence of 3 people. Yifterenu, should he really have the dream interpreted by these people? V'amar Rav Chisda, certainly Rav Chisda said, Chelma delo mifashar, a dream that's uninterpreted. Ki igarta delo mikarye, it's like a letter that has not been read. As long as it has not been interpreted, a dream carries no portent at all. Thus, if one feels his dream might bode ill, why have it interpreted and risk giving veracity to an adverse omen? So it's not a good thing to do, right? So what happens? So the Gemara responds by saying, Ela ema, rather say it this way, Yetivenu bifnei shalosha. If one is distressed by a dream he has seen, let him remedy the dream in the presence of 3 people. Laiti telata v'leimelahu, let him bring the 3 people and say to them, Chelma tava chazai, I have seen a good dream. V'leimru le'hanach, and then let them say to him, Tavahu v'tava leheve, it is good and may it be good. Rachmana l'shav yelitav, may the merciful one transform it for the better. Shva zimnim ligzaru alach min shmaya leheve tava, may it be decreed upon you 7 times from heaven that be good, v'yeheve tava, and may it indeed be good. So that's what happens. You go, you don't tell them what the dream is. You say, I had a good dream. And then so they basically say to you, it should only come true. Your good dream it should be blessed with many good dreams. Okay. That's how you get out of it. So, yeah.
That's if you have a bad dream.
That's if you have a dream that's causing you consternation. You don't know, again, you don't know if it's a good dream or a bad dream. Because if you tell me the dream, I may interpret it well and tell you what it means, show you the good side of life. You can come with a good dream, and I can tell you what it means horribly. So it's all up to the interpreter. The dream follows the interpretation. That's the problem.
So you don't.
So if you don't pay me well, I'm going to give you a bad dream,
Right. So
a bad interpretation.
if someone has a bad dream or a dream,
Yeah.
and they're worried about it, and they just say, "I had a dream."
I had a good dream.
Oh,
I've seen a good dream.
even if they don't think they have.
Right, and then what he does is they tell him that you should have a better, it should be good, may it be good, and so on and so forth.
So isn't that interpreting it?
No, they're saying may it be good. It should be good for you. No, you had a good dream, great. So his Zygis should come out for you good like that. Everything else. They're not telling him. They don't. In other words, if somebody has a dream that they were driving a new car. And so they come and they tell you, I had a dream, I was driving a new car. I said, oh, you know what that means? It means that you killed somebody with your old car. You had to junk it, and you had to run from the cops. So what you did was you got a brand new car so you could escape with good velocity. Well, I just turned a good dream into a really horrible dream. Okay? And I interpreted that this guy's a murderer and he's on the run. And he has a good car, but that's about all he has. So as compared to, I was driving a brand new car. It says, you know what that means? It means you hit the lottery. And the first thing you did was you got out, you got a beautiful new car, your family loves you, everything's going to be great, riches are going to come from all over the place, you'll never have to worry about money again in your life. That's a good way to interpret it. Okay? So it's up to me, the guy who's interpreting it. Now, there is actually, we're going to come to these stories where there was one rabbi who two rabbis would go to the same dream interpreter. And one rabbi would always get a bad interpretation about the dreams, and they all came true. And the other guy, the rabbi, went and gave the dream, but he always got a good interpretation, and it always came true. So one of the rabbis, it sounds like a joke, but one of the rabbis, the one who's always got the bad interpretation, goes to the one with the good, who always gets the good interpretation. So I don't understand. We all go to the same dream interpreter. How can you always be good and you go bad? He said, well, what do you pay the guy? So well, I pay him this. He said, you give him more money. It costs by the money. So he says, no, impossible. But he says, okay, I'm going to try it, the experiment. What happens? He has a dream. He says, he gives him a nice amount of money. And he says, okay, this is my dream. The guy gives him a beautiful interpretation. It comes true. So he said, oh, really? It was just for money? You should drop dead. And the guy dies. But don't play with the rabbis. That's what it means. But the whole thing is, what we're learning from that whole story, and again, we'll see it later on, is that the dreams do follow the interpretation. So you have to be very careful. When somebody tells me they had a bad dream, I always say, forget it. Just don't say anything to anybody. You don't want anybody to know it because you're also giving it credence, and you don't have to give it credence. It's a dream. Do tshuva by all means, but don't start telling people what it is, because otherwise you're putting yourself into a whole bunch of problems. Okay, so we'll have to stop here.